Hello and welcome back. We have an interesting topic for the next 10 minutes. We're going to talk about how we have been conditioned to chase goals through life, and eventually we become a little frustrated, anxious, and we'll look at if there is any way to actually get over that and still achieve goals. So let's look at that. So, if you look at all the self help books that are out there and all the videos, tons of YouTube stuff, advisors, all of them talk about how do we set goals, how do we aim for the next big jump in a career, or how do we aim to be more productive, how do we take different steps, so many things. But eventually, people try these things and give up. There is a reason for that. The reason is we become so fixated on goals. You just want to achieve the goal at any cost, and you do that for a few days, and then it's gone. You forget. So that gives us frustration, that builds up a lot of disappointment, a lot of things. So how do we solve this? So if you remember, this channel is about achieving something over a year. It's mostly about building up more knowledge, spending time to study, building up new products, coming up with a startup. It's just your inspiration to spend a year of focused time to get something out of it. So how do we approach this? How do we make ourselves productive, but not in the typical way that is touted by all these self-help books? So let's look at that. I'm going to talk about a book called The Practicing Mind by a person called Thomas M. Turner. I'm not saying you should purchase this book. I'm not recommending this book, but I just used it as a guide to start talking through this series. So the core idea is mastery and peace comes from a process, not the output or the outcome. So let's take an example. I'm going to jump into the first section, which talks about the problem with goal fixation. So we are so conditioned to measure progress by results. So let us say you are a student. You have been conditioned to finish, let us say, a handful of books and finish 800 questions, and eventually you're going to be graded and you're going to get a score of 7, 8 or 9 or 10 CGPA, right? So focusing on the end goal actually creates anxiety. So as I go through the first few pages of my book, I'm trying to imagine what my CGPA is going to be. That is going to create anxiety, and it's also going to build impatience. So I'm going to finish 1,000 pages of this book and then get my CGPA and then really figure out if I achieved my goal or not. And then you build up something in your mind saying, I will be happy when I get a 10 CGPA. That's a trap. You will never be fully satisfied. So the point here is that goal is useful only as a direction, not an obsession. Once you're obsessed with something, it's very difficult. It's easy to relate to this if you're a musician. Learning piano or guitar or some instrument is actually a long process. So you imagine yourself trying to play guitar a year later and you feel good about it. But then you pick up your guitar, start playing a few notes, figure out what a fret is or whatever it takes to learn. You very soon become disappointed because at the end of the day, you just tried playing a few notes, maybe you couldn't get the sound right. So you get disappointed. And then you need to motivate yourself again tomorrow morning to pick up the guitar and still try the same thing and still end with the same result because the journey is long. When you set a goal, you forget how long it takes to get there. So you're not prepared for the amount of time. So constant frustration when you are completely outcome driven. So what's the answer for this? So let's talk about that. It's called A Practicing Mind. You can refer to the book. It's a nice one. I'm not advising that you buy it, but if you have it around, you should look at it. So it talks about having a mindset that is rooted in the present moment. It's called awareness. So instead of focusing on the final outcome that you're expecting, look at what you're going to do today. It's going to be small. You split or set a goal for today, which is really small, saying that, let's take this example of a guitar. So you know that a year later you would be able to play a fancy song and which will sound nice. But today you're just trying to pick up how to strum a guitar. It's pretty simple, and you should feel satisfied at the end of the day if you learned how to strum it. So that will keep you happy. But if you're focused on the final end goal where you're playing a rock star song, that's going to disappoint you. So focus on the process rather than the final end product. A goal is needed. You need to have an outcome-based goal set. That is correct. But it's a direction. You don't think about it every day. Once you set it up, you leave it somewhere in the back of your mind. You know that someday you're going to be playing guitar like a rock star, but today it's just strumming. So patience and discipline are the two twin muscles that helps build this entire outcome that you're looking for. So progress happens very quietly through repetition, not speed. So if you're trying to find a shortcut to learn something very quickly, it may not last long and it may not take you long. eventually you'll get frustrated. So that's the problem. And the answer is the practicing mind. So let's go a little bit more into how do we cultivate this practicing mind? What is it? So the mind is something that knows what the final end goal is. It knows the direction it has to go in, and it knows that in the next few days or weeks, all it is going to do is go for very small steps of achievement. So peace is found in the doing, not in the done. If you're expecting that the whole exercise will be done in a few days' time, it's not. It's going to be a year's time. So let's rather focus on what we are going to do today. And the way to cultivate it is like this. You do something, the steps to learn your guitar, you observe, then you correct, and then you repeat again tomorrow. So today I learned the first few chords of a song, tomorrow I come back, maybe I learn how to hold the guitar better or something like that. So the S of how do we cultivate a practicing mind is simplify, small, slow. Basically make your tasks manageable and make it more mindful. Once you define the small piece, once you know that it's a short thing you have to do, learn it slowly and be mindful of it. So let go of the outcome, the final output, temporarily during practice sessions. Don't keep thinking of the final end goal. And also keep an eye on wandering thoughts. As you play this guitar, your mind might wander to a movie or a friend's conversation. Pull it back. It doesn't take much time. And once you observe that you're wandering, you can come back. It's a little bit of mindfulness you build into your habit. So why does all this matter? I'll keep it really short. It reduces anxiety and increases clarity. You know that you're going to learn piano. After a year's time, you'll be good at it. But to get there, today you need to focus on just a few things. Be mindful, pull back your mind, and just work on it. So it builds a sustainable discipline. It's critical for creative and entrepreneurial work. So be disciplined, repeat it, and it also helps you, navigate transitions and work on the long-term objective. So as a closing thing, I would just like to say that practice itself is the destination. That's what the book also talks about. So your journey is what needs to be enjoyed, not your final destination. So if you're flying to Bali or Fiji, you're expecting to go there and then spend some time there and be very happy about it, right? But also remember, the journey is about maybe half a day's time, and then you spend half a day to go and settle down, and then you get into that enjoyment. So why not enjoy the journey as well? So break it down. I'm going to get on a flight. I'm going to enjoy my airport break. Maybe I'm going to have some food, have some conversations. Then I reach Bali. And then, of course, I will enjoy my destination too. But if you just focus only on the destination, the whole process of getting to Bali is boring. So with that, I'll just end this quickly and say that every action that you do is an opportunity for you to refine your awareness, to be aware of what you're doing, and don't focus too much on the final end goal. It's necessary, set it, write it down somewhere, put it in a shelf. Now work on the steps to get there. So what if mastery is not something we reach, but something we practice, and it is in how we move there? So take a moment to think about that, and let's meet you in the next episode. Thank you.